Okay, this will probably be the last National 5 paper that I do. Exciting times. Yeah, so this is the calculator paper for 2015 Nat 5. Just before I start the calculator paper, I usually go through a few housekeeping issues. So first thing is obviously there's lots of equations at the front here. You maybe, if you did the last paper, you'll maybe see we never used much of this. It was really just standard deviation. There wasn't a huge amount of anything else, I don't think. However, these equations really come into their own for the calculator paper, so have a look, make sure you know what's on here. Don't be caught out and thinking, oh, how do I do that question? There's probably an equation you're missing if you're really stumped. And the other one is watch your calculator. Okay, get used to using your calculator, right? Get used to the features on it. Don't be using your phone, using an app, because then on exam day you're going to get given a calculator. You'll know how to work it. Okay, I say this every time, so I'm sure people are skipping through this bit of the video as we speak. If anyone ever watches these videos. Yeah, the big rookie mistake that people make on the calculator is it's set to radians, not degrees. So there should be like a little button at the very back where you can put your pencil in and jab it, and that'll reset it into kind of degrees, I think. But you should, if it says rad instead of deg, that's you in radians, not degrees. That would actually technically just lose you one mark on the paper, because I think you then get positive marking for the rest of the paper, to be fair. But what it does do is it sets you up for weird answers, right? So even though you might only lose one mark, then you're still going to have all these bizarre answers which will confuse you and all the rest of it. So you don't want a calculator spitting out nonsense. So please get used to using your calculator, and please get used to understanding what equations are there at your disposal. Okay. All right, on with the paper. Question one. A house is valued at 240,000. Its value is predicted to rise by 2.8% per annum, which is just Latin for each year. Calculate its predicted value after 2 years. Okay. While we're on the subject of Latin, interesting factoid. So we all know that BC for the years means before Christ. AD means Anno Domini, which just means the year of our Lord. There you go. So not everyone knows BC, but not maybe AD. So yeah, per annum. There you go. They're throwing Latin at you in your first question. A bit harsh, but we should all know that means each year. Okay. So value after 2 years. Okay, well, in the first year, so we'll to begin with, let's just call it one, right? If I know I can't call it one, let's just initial, right? So the initial value is 240,000. Okay. So in year one, what is it going to be equal to? Well, it's going to be equal to 240,000 times 1.028. Okay. And in year two, it's going to be that number. So let's work that out. So what have we got? 240,123 times 1.028. So that's going to give us 246,720. And let's times that by 1.028 again. And that's going to give us 253,628 pounds and 16 pence. Okay, now a lot of people would say, well, that's quite long-winded, isn't it? And they're right. That is not the way I would usually do it. Okay, but if you want to think about what's going on, that's what's happening. You get your initial value, and then we multiply it by our decimal. Now the decimal I worked out there is quite simply 100 plus the percentage divided by 100, which in this case the percentage is 2.8. So if we did 100 plus 2.8 divided by 100, we're going to end up with 1.0. Sorry, it's terrible. Way off there, not even close. I'm close. 1.028. Okay, now using this equation is really good because sometimes people can get confused. They see 2.8 and they think, well, that's 1.28. That's not quite right. That's actually going to be increasing it by 28%. Okay, so sometimes using this equation can be helpful. Okay, but I'm quite happy not using that. I'm quite happy just going straight for that. But it's up to you. Okay, you might want to use it. So first of all, that's where that came from. Okay. Then what I did was I did the 240,000 times that, and then I took that number and times it by 1.028 again. Okay, now what I could have done though, which is easier, and if they'd asked for like year 10, I physically couldn't have done this method, it would have taken me too long. What you can also do is say, well, 240,000 times 1.028 squared, okay? This in here is the number of years. Now, if you think what we've actually done up here, we've done 240,000 times 1.028 and then times by 1.028 again, okay? Which is what this is, because this is saying 240,000 times 1.028 times 1.028. That's what the squared would do to that bracket, yeah? So this is the equation you really should be going for, right? I just wanted to kind of talk through what's going on, and also that if you want to check the number you've got, you could do this if you wanted. You're going to mark for this, and you're going to mark for your final mark for this line. Sorry, a mark for this decimal, and then you're getting a mark for all this working, and then a mark for your final answer. Okay, so three for 3 marks. That's an amazing question. Very straightforward. Okay, and it's even easy to check you've done it right because you could do this wall method as well. All right. Um, Actually, you get full marks for not even showing you're working. So if you did this method, you'd obviously still have gotten marks as well. They don't even really care if you've not got working because it's quite straightforward by the looks of it. But I would always show you're working because if you make a mistake on your calculator and you don't write anything down, you get nothing. All right. Whereas if you'd typed this in wrong into your calculator, got a funny answer, you'd still have walked away with 2 marks just for having this line here. Okay. So yeah, takeaways from this. This is how you work out your percentage. If it's bigger than 1, it's going to increase the number. If it's less than 1, it'll decrease the number. Okay, so right away you should be thinking, okay, that makes sense. And actually what I've done here is I've said plus, but should do plus or minus, shouldn't it? Because it could be you're taking away if it's decreasing the percentage, okay? So if it's bigger than 1, it's going up. Less than 1, it's going down. Don't fall into the trap of just 1.28. Okay. So yeah, that's question 1. That should be getting us settled in nicely. So 50 marks for this paper. Yeah, 50 marks. Yeah. So that's an easy wee 3 marks. Okay. So this first page is 10% of the paper, right? Let's see if this one looks easy. I think this looks very straightforward. A function is defined as f of x is equal to this. Given that f of a is equal to 23, calculate a. Okay, so there's 2 ways they can ask these questions. Okay. What they sometimes say is, if f, calculate f of 5. Okay, that's one thing they could say, for example. And all they're saying is substitute 5 into the equation. Okay, so they give you the number that x is, and they want the total. Okay, so they want you to then say, okay, well that's going to be 3 times 5 plus 2. Okay, so that's going to be 17. So f of 5 equals 17. And that's one method they could do. The other method is what they've got here, where they actually say the function equals 23. Now they've just changed x to a as another little way of confusing you, but really what they're saying there is this function here. Alright, I'll just make it a wee bit clearer. This bit here equals 23. 23. Okay. Now they've said f of a, so I mean if you want to be proper, they've said f of a is that's going to be 3a plus 2. Yeah. And they've said f of a is 23, so 23 is 3a plus 2. And then we're just rearranging. So how do I get plus 2 onto this side? Well, plus 2, do the opposite, take it away. 23 take away 2, 21. How do I get rid of times by 3? Well, on the right hand side, I'm timesing by 3. On the left, divide by 3. 21 divided by 3 is equal to a. I think we can simplify that. 7 is equal to a. Okay, so we should be thinking good start to the day. Nice and straightforward. That's 10% in the bag. Okay, let's have a look. So you get a mark for obviously knowing that A is 7, and you're going to get a mark for a valid strategy. So it's this point here, you'll get your first mark. So even if you don't know how to rearrange, just simply stating that 23 is equal to that gets you a mark. Okay, so one thing I like to try and do going through these is to really highlight to people that there's so many little tiny marks you can pick up. Okay, don't ever be looking at something and thinking, I don't know, I'm not writing anything. Okay, that's an incredible mark. That's 50% of that question. Okay, for really just saying 23 is equal to 3a plus 2. I think that's incredible. Okay, there's almost no there's hardly any work in that at all. You've just kind of rewritten what they've got here. Okay, so please have a think about what the question's asking. Try something. Don't just give up. Okay, and same again in there. Don't just put that in your calculator. Write down your line of working, because if you get it wrong in your calculator, you're still going to get these 2 marks for demonstrating you know how to do the question. Okay, cool. So that should be 10% of the marks in the bag. All right. Not enough time to do this. I'll do it in the next video.